Elias leaned against the railing of the observation deck, staring at the stars. The neutral space station had always fascinated him, a hub where species from across the galaxy mingled. Ships of every shape and color floated outside the glass walls, their lights blinking like fireflies. It was peaceful here, an ordered chaos that humans called home. He had spent years working as an engineer, fixing systems, maintaining life support, and quietly observing the lives of those who passed through. He never expected the day to come when someone from his past would walk in and change everything. It started with a routine inspection. Elias had been walking through the central hall when the comm system buzzed with an urgent announcement. A royal fleet had arrived at the station. Instantly, the hall emptied as station personnel and visitors scrambled for safety or information. Humans were rare here, and most aliens avoided eye contact with anyone not part of their species. Now all eyes were on Elias, though he did not understand why. The doors of the flagship opened, revealing a long procession. Guards in polished armor marched in formation, their steps perfectly synchronized. Behind them came diplomats, attendants, and finally, at the center, a figure who made the entire hall fall silent. Elias's heart skipped. It was her. Lyra stepped forward, moving gracefully despite the mechanical supports hugging her legs. She had grown taller since the last time he had seen her, her eyes sharper, her presence commanding. But it was not her status or her appearance that struck him. It was recognition. She was the same shy girl he had once helped years ago, the one everyone in her court overlooked because of her disability. And now she looked at him, and her voice, calm and steady, cut through the murmurs of the crowd. "Do you remember me?" she asked. "I'm the disabled alien princess you once chose as your partner." Elias froze. The words bounced around his mind like shards of glass. He remembered vaguely a cultural ceremony, a festival with songs and lights, a young alien girl who struggled to keep up with the others. He had offered his hand when she hesitated at a set of steps. At the time, he thought it was just a kind gesture, a way to help someone in need. He had smiled, shrugged, and walked away, thinking nothing more of it. But Lyra had not forgotten. That small gesture had meant more than he could have imagined. It had been a sacred vow on her planet, a declaration of choice, and she had cherished it every day since. Elias opened his mouth but could not find words. The hall was still. Every being from humans to the towering insectoid diplomats waited to see his reaction. He realized that this was no ordinary visit. This was personal, and suddenly he understood the gravity of the moment. Lyra's eyes softened slightly, but there was no apology, no plea. She only extended her hand, still steady despite the mechanical supports. "I came to honor the promise," she said simply. "But I do not force it. You are free to choose." The hum of whispers filled the hall, but Elias's mind was elsewhere. He was not thinking about the fleet, the royal attendants, or the curious onlookers. He was thinking about her, the small shy girl who had once struggled to walk, who had smiled nervously when he offered his hand. He remembered the simplicity of that moment, the way she had trusted him without hesitation. The station commander, a tall, angular alien named Vorith, stepped forward. "Sir Elias," he said, his voice formal and tense. "Princess Lyra requests your presence. It is urgent." Elias nodded slowly, feeling the weight of every eye upon him. He walked beside Lyra, keeping pace with her mechanical supports. The closer he got, the more he noticed the changes. Lyra was no longer a timid child. She had a presence that demanded attention, and yet, in her eyes, he still saw the same quiet trust that had drawn him to her all those years ago. They entered a private chamber, away from the press of the crowd. Lyra turned to face him fully. "Do you remember that day?" she asked. "The day you offered me your hand." Elias swallowed. I think I do," he said cautiously. "I remember helping a girl during a ceremony. I didn't know it meant more than that." "It meant everything," she replied. Her voice was steady, but there was a trace of emotion he could feel even through her calm demeanor. "You were the first one who saw me not as weak, not as broken, but as someone capable of choice. That day that changed my life." Elias's chest tightened. He had no idea. What he had considered a simple gesture had shaped the destiny of an entire life. He looked at her, really looked, and for the first time he noticed the small scars along her arms, the faint wear in her supports, the way her hands gripped lightly but firmly. She was strong, stronger than he had ever imagined. I'm honored," he said, his voice barely above a whisper, "but I don't know what to say. I never realized." Words are not needed, she interrupted gently. Action is. That is why I came here. To give you a choice, not to demand one. To show you that what you did was never forgotten. The room was silent. The weight of her words pressed on him. Outside, the station's corridors buzzed with rumors and speculation. Humans whispered among themselves, wondering why Elias had been summoned by alien royalty. Alien observers speculated on his role in a prophecy they did not explain. But in that room, it was just the two of them. Elias finally found his voice. I remember your smile, he said slowly, and how you trusted me without hesitation. I didn't understand at the time. I didn't know what it meant, but I see it now. Lyra's eyes glimmered, not with tears, but with quiet strength. You see it now. That is enough. A sudden alarm sounded. The station's communication system lit up with red. Outside, a rival faction's ships had appeared on the sensors. The display showed sleek black vessels moving toward the station with hostile intent. The Royal Fleet prepared for defense, shields activating and weapons powering up. Do not worry about them, Lyra said softly. They are not here to harm me, but they may question your presence. They may challenge you. I wanted you to know. Before that begins, Elias's heart raced. Danger was nothing new to him as an engineer, but politics and interstellar rivalries were another matter. And yet, even in this storm, he felt a strange calm. Lyra's presence grounded him, reminded him that some things were bigger than fear. The doors to the chamber slid open, and two of her personal guards entered. They were imposing, armored figures, but their eyes were careful, respectful. Princess, the fleet is in position, one said. Your choice may be questioned. Are you prepared? I am always prepared, she said simply. Then turning to Elias, she added, And you? Are you ready to see what this means? Elias swallowed hard. I will stand with you, he said. He did not yet know the consequences, but he knew he could not step back. Not now. Not after all she had done. The guards nodded and left. Lyra stepped closer to Elias. The galaxy may not understand what we are, she said softly. They may mock or challenge us. But know this, my choice, the choice we once shared, is real. And it is yours to honor or decline. Elias reached out, his hand hovering near hers. He could feel the faint hum of her mechanical supports, the subtle warmth of her skin. This was not a simple moment. This was the start of something neither of them had expected. Outside the chamber, alarms blared, lights flickered, and the station prepared for what could be a diplomatic or military disaster. But inside, time slowed. He looked into Lyra's eyes and saw not a princess, not a disabled alien, but a person who had trusted him once and was trusting him again. I will not fail you, Elias said finally, gripping her hand gently. Lyra's eyes softened. Then let us face what comes together, she said. As partners, not because duty demands it, but because choice binds us. In that moment, the weight of the past, the uncertainties of the present, and the unknown future all collided. Elias understood that a small act of kindness years ago had led to this moment. A forgotten gesture had grown into a bond that could defy politics, prejudice, and even the vastness of space itself. And as the alarms continued outside and the station braced for the unknown, Elias and Lyra stood together hand in hand, ready to face whatever the galaxy would throw at them, not as ruler and subject, not as savior and saved, but as equals. Two beings connected by trust, choice, and a promise remembered across years and light years. The stars outside the observation deck continued to blink, indifferent to human and alien affairs, yet somehow witnessing the birth of a partnership that might change everything. The station thrummed with tension. Outside, rival ships hovered like predators, their black hulls gleaming menacingly against the backdrop of stars. Within the royal flagship, alarms rang intermittently, and personnel moved with precise urgency. But in the quiet chamber, Elias and Lyra stood hand in hand, a calm in the storm. This is bigger than I imagined, Elias said quietly. I thought my choice years ago was just a small gesture. I didn't know it would lead to this. Lyra's eyes softened, her voice gentle but firm. Some gestures echo further than we expect. You saw me as more than what my disability made me. That mattered more than you could ever know. And now others will see it too. It is time for them to understand. Elias looked at her. She was no longer the timid girl who had clung nervously to his hand. Now she radiated confidence, her presence commanding without arrogance. Her mechanical supports hummed faintly, not as a sign of weakness, but as a testament to her resilience. He realized that her strength was not in her limbs, but in her mind, heart, and will. Outside, the rival ships communicated with the station, demanding that Lyra cancel her union with a human. They called it a violation of tradition, and warned that failure to comply would have consequences. Elias bristled. He had dealt with engineering challenges, power surges, and failing life support systems, but this, political manipulation, was entirely new. Yet for the first time he felt something he had never expected. He could stand beside her and defend her. Lyra's hand squeezed his gently. "Do not fear them. They are loud and threatening, but they do not define who we are. Will you stand with me?" Elias nodded, though a flicker of doubt crossed his mind. Could he truly face the political pressure, the whispers of scorn, the expectation that he, a human, was somehow unworthy of an alien princess? Still, he remembered the small, shy smile she had given him so many years ago. He would not betray that trust now. "I will stand with you," he said firmly, "not because I must, but because I choose to." Lyra's eyes glimmered with gratitude. "Then let us show them that strength comes in many forms." The flagship's command center was bustling. Lyra led Elias there, introducing him as the human who had chosen her long ago. Some of the officers blinked in disbelief, murmuring among themselves, "A human? A partner of a royal alien princess?" It was unheard of. Elias felt their eyes on him, some skeptical, others curious. He cleared his throat. "I do not claim any authority here," he said, his voice calm but steady. "I am simply someone who respects the princess. I will stand by her, as she has stood for herself all these years." A senior officer, a tall alien with scaled skin and sharp features, frowned. "Respect is not enough. The galaxy expects rulership, tradition, and strength. She should not be allied with a human." Lyra stepped forward. "And yet she is. Because strength is not measured by bloodline alone. It is measured by courage, by choice, and by the will to act when others falter." Elias watched the officers' expressions shift. Some softened, others remained skeptical, but all were listening. There was power in her words. Not the power of a throne, but the power of truth. Outside, the rival ships had begun to maneuver, but they did not fire. It seemed they were testing, trying to intimidate the station into compliance. Lyra's fleet prepared defensively, and yet she remained calm, guiding Elias with quiet confidence. "Do you see them?" she asked. "They think fear can force our choice. But we are not afraid." "Not now," Elias nodded. Her courage was infectious. He realized that it was not just his support she needed. It was also the world's recognition of her determination. And in that recognition he found his own strength. Hours passed in tense negotiation. The station acted as a neutral ground, diplomats haggling and warning. But Elias and Lyra remained together, each supporting the other. Every time the conversation turned hostile, Lyra's voice cut through, calm but unwavering. Finally, the rival faction's leader appeared on the main screen, a shadowed figure with eyes like burning coals. "Princess," it said, voice harsh and commanding, "you have chosen a human. This is unacceptable. Cancel your union or face consequences." Lyra's mechanical supports whirred softly as she straightened her posture. "I have made my choice," she said clearly. "It is final. Not because I am commanded by tradition, but because I see the value of courage and respect in those around me. And this human," she gestured to Elias, "has shown more courage and respect than many in my court. He will stand with me. Together we are stronger than fear or insult." The leader's eyes narrowed, the shadows on their face flickering with tension. But Lyra did not flinch. Elias felt a surge of pride and admiration. She was standing not just for herself, but for him, for their partnership, and for a principle that transcended tradition, the power of choice and equality. Then, unexpectedly, Lyra spoke again, softer this time, looking directly at Elias. "Do you understand now why I came? Years ago, when you chose me, you did not know the weight of that moment, but I did, and I have waited for the day you could see it too." Elias swallowed, his throat dry. He finally understood the enormity of what he had done years ago. A simple gesture, holding her hand, treating her as equal, had shaped not only her life but the future of her people. And now he was ready to honor that choice fully. "I understand," he said, "and I will honor it. Not for duty, not for fear, but because I choose you, because I respect who you are and who we can be together." Lyra's eyes glimmered with quiet joy. Then let them see it, she said. Let them see that true strength is not in perfect limbs or bloodlines, but in courage, respect, and choice. A cheer erupted in the command center. Some of the officers, initially skeptical, now nodded in approval. Even the station personnel outside watched in awe. Lyra had spoken the truth, and Elias had stood with her. Together, they had shown that strength and leadership came in many forms. The rival leader's image flickered, then disappeared from the screen. Elias realized that their challenge had been more of a test than a threat. By standing united, they had forced the galaxy to acknowledge their bond, not just as a human and a disabled alien princess, but as equals shaping the future together. Later, in a quiet corner of the observation deck, Lyra turned to Elias. I am not asking for fame, for power, or for approval. I am asking for partnership. Will you walk beside me? Not because the galaxy expects it, but because you choose to. Elias smiled, feeling a warmth he had never known. I will, he said. I choose you, and I will stand with you always. She offered her hand again, not as a ritual, but as a genuine invitation. This time he took it without hesitation. The mechanical supports hummed softly. The stars outside sparkled, and the station seemed to hold its breath, witnessing the moment. In that quiet, profound moment, Elias realized that life had a strange way of circling back. A forgotten gesture had become a bond that could withstand politics, prejudice, and distance. And now, as he stood beside Lyra, he understood that true partnership was about seeing each other as equals, respecting each other's strength and choosing each other every day. The galaxy beyond the station would continue to challenge them. There would be whispers, skeptics, and obstacles. But together, Elias and Lyra had forged something stronger than tradition or expectation. They had forged a bond of courage, trust, and choice. And in that bond they were unstoppable.